Hello dino enthusiasts, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time, about 150 million years ago, to the late Jurassic period. Forget the T-Rex for a moment, because we're meeting one of the most common yet fascinating giants of the era, Camarasaurus, the chambered lizard. So why the strange name? It all comes down to its bones. When paleontologists first discovered its skeleton, they noticed something peculiar about its vertebrae. They were filled with hollow chambers, a bit like a honeycomb. This brilliant evolutionary design, called pneumaticity, made its massive skeleton much lighter without sacrificing strength. Think of it as nature's own lightweight engineering. This was crucial for an animal that could weigh up to 20 tons, about as much as 4 large elephants, and stretch up to 60 feet long. That's longer than a city bus. These chambers likely connected to a complex system of air sacs, similar to modern birds, which would have helped with breathing and even cooling its enormous body. Camarasaurus roamed the vast, semi-arid floodplains of what is now western North America. The famous Morrison Formation, a treasure trove of Jurassic fossils, has yielded countless Camarasaurus skeletons. In fact, it's the most frequently discovered sauropod in that region. This abundance of fossils gives us an incredibly detailed picture of its life, from baby to adult. We have fossils of juveniles, subadults, and fully grown individuals, allowing scientists to piece together how these giants grew and lived. Imagine a landscape dotted with these long-necked titans, peacefully munching on vegetation. Now let's talk about that iconic sauropod look. Camarasaurus had a relatively short and tall skull for a sauropod, almost boxy in shape, with large, spoon-shaped teeth. These teeth weren't for chewing. They were perfect for raking or stripping leaves and tough plant material from branches. It would have swallowed its food whole, letting gastroliths, stones it deliberately swallowed, do the grinding work in its gizzard-like stomach. This rake-and-swallow strategy was highly efficient, allowing it to consume vast quantities of food every single day to fuel its massive body. Its diet likely consisted of conifers, cycads, and ferns, the dominant plants of the Jurassic. Unlike some of its long-necked cousins like Diplodocus, Camarasaurus had a shorter neck and a more robust build. Its neck was still incredibly long by our standards, but it was held more vertically. This suggests it was a high browser, feeding on foliage in the mid to upper levels of the tree canopy, perhaps between 15 to 30 feet off the ground. This feeding strategy is a great example of niche partitioning. Different sauropods in the same environment, like the lower browsing Diplodocus, could coexist without directly competing for the same food sources. It was a well-organized Jurassic buffet. One of the most exciting things about Camarasaurus is the evidence we have for its social behavior. The discovery of multiple skeletons together, including individuals of different ages, strongly suggests that these dinosaurs lived in herds. A famous fossil site in Utah, known as the Dinosaur National Monument, contains a jumbled logjam of dinosaur bones, with many Camarasaurus among them. This could represent a herd that was caught in a flash flood. Living in a herd would have offered protection, especially for the young. A wall of multi-ton adults would have been a formidable defense against predators like the fearsome Allosaurus. Speaking of predators, life wasn't always a peaceful meal for Camarasaurus. Allosaurus, a large carnivorous dinosaur, was its primary threat. We have direct fossil evidence of these encounters. Paleontologists have found Allosaurus tooth marks on Camarasaurus bones, and even a Camarasaurus pelvic bone with a healed injury believed to have been inflicted by an Allosaurus's powerful bite. This shows that while Camarasaurus was a gentle giant, it was also a survivor, capable of fending off and recovering from attacks by the apex predators of its time. Its sheer size was its best defense, but it also had a whip-like tail that could be used as a defensive weapon. What about baby Camarasaurus? Fossilized nests and eggs attributed to sauropods suggest they laid their eggs in clutches, often in dugout nests, and then covered them with soil and vegetation for incubation. The hatchlings would have been small and incredibly vulnerable. At birth, a baby Camarasaurus might have been only a few feet long. They would have needed to grow incredibly fast to reach a size where they were no longer easy prey. It's likely they stayed with the herd, gaining safety in numbers as they navigated the perilous journey to adulthood. The growth rate of these animals was astounding. putting on thousands of pounds each year during their adolescence. So why did this successful dinosaur eventually disappear? Camarasaurus thrived for millions of years during the late Jurassic. However, as the Jurassic period gave way to the Cretaceous, the environment began to change. The climate shifted, and so did the plant life. New types of plants, including the first flowering plants, began to appear and spread. This shift in flora may have put pressure on specialized browsers like Camarasaurus. New, more advanced sauropods, better adapted to the changing world, eventually replaced them. It wasn't a sudden extinction, but a gradual fade as the world they knew transformed around them. In the end, Camarasaurus stands as a perfect example of a successful Jurassic herbivore. It wasn't the biggest or the longest, but its robust build, unique anatomy, and herd behavior allowed it to dominate the North American landscape for millions of years. It was a gentle giant, a key part of its ecosystem, and a testament to the incredible diversity of life during the age of dinosaurs. The next time you see a depiction of the Jurassic period, look past the usual suspects and spare a thought for the chambered lizard, the true backbone of the Morrison Formation. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the Jurassic. I hope you enjoyed getting to know the amazing Camarasaurus. If you found this video fascinating, please give it a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next prehistoric adventure. Until next time, stay curious.